Welcome aboard for another video.
Thanks, Conductor Keith.
Why, Terry, you ask? Are you holding this locomotive with a rag? Ooh, it's hot. It's because I'm actually filming this intro after I made the video. And this engine's just finished an awesome run. And it's hot. Smells like hot lubricating compound steam oil. Yeah, hot paint. It's wonderful. This is the Mamod Mark III. In my opinion, the best for the price. Introduction to live steam locomotive out there. And we've learned recently that Mamod is closing its business because the rents are too high, and that's a problem everywhere. Lots of local business, a lot of local industry here in Canada too. It's closing because the people that own the land and whatnot have just jacked the rents up astronomically since COVID especially. And, you know, it's a shame, really. Otherwise, brilliant company. I've got 3 Mamod products, locomotives, and they're all brilliant. And this is my favorite. I've got fancy dancy engines like this roundhouse engine. But yet this, which, you know, I could buy a whole bunch of these for one of those. This engine still brings a huge smile to my face. And hopefully you'll find one on the used market. And hopefully somebody will take the tooling and actually produce this locomotive. Can't say enough about it. So with a heavy heart, and I'm not joking, this is my tribute to Mamod, which has recently ceased operation. It's a real shame that Mamod's closing its doors, because this Mamod Mark III, it's a pot boiler, but it does have a Smithy's boiler. There's 2 pipes that go through the flame. Oscillating cylinders, I mean, it's a simple engine, but a very affordable way to enter the live steam market. Came in 32 millimeter gauge like this one and 45 millimeter gauge. This engine's very visually modified by me. I have it in War Department, an accurate color. It's one of the colors the War Department painted them in. And I made this maple leaf because the Canadian foresters and whatnot that use them in Europe to go cut trees and bring the trees out to make, you know, duck boards and other things for trench warfare. Well, the Canadians, their allotted locomotives, they made these maple leaves and put on the front. Now, this is not a fine scale model of any particular engine. On my channel, there is a playlist of my Mamod Mark III, and you can see the modifications over time. This is such a fun little engine. It's got a displacement lubricator right there. It's gas fired. Like I said, it's a pot boiler. You can see the flame under there. It is a really good engine. It never ceases to bring a smile to my face every time I run it. This loco has not been run for well over a year because out here on my developing railway, I have 45 millimeter gauge loop, and the 32 millimeter gauge loop it fits on is just for switching there. I use my radio control Mamod bolt in there and goes out to staging. It's not ideal, obviously, for running this live steam locomotive. I have just enough Mamod track set up in the living room to run it on the floor. So here we have the locomotive on the 32 millimeter gauge track with my small assortment of my Swift 16 wagons. Rob at Swift 16 is awesome. These kits are awesome. I have many more, but we're gonna put these on. And this is my heavily kit bashed private Henry and Marge railcar. This is my Phil Sharples kit. And in there you see we have Conductor Keith. Driving today we have Lord Michael, the chairman of the Pencross Railway of Eastern Ontario. And of course the Friar's here with his dog and his pony. He is a great train watcher and friend of the railway. This building has never been seen. This is a birdhouse from HomeSense. It's got the dog and everything came with it. And that's awesome. And there's another birdhouse building. There's my son's Beyblades over there. I tend to turn the gas down as low as possible. The forward arm, I don't put it all the way forward or all the way in reverse. That helps a little bit. That was a trick I learned from somebody else on YouTube. So my friend Dave in Scotland made this brass back piece here because it wasn't one here. There was a cab before, but this was open. And so what I've done is put it here, and the idea is I'm gonna put a micro server down in there, and I'm building a tender that's going to carry the radio receiver and batteries. And I'm gonna have this right here hooked up to a micro servo. The radio project's probably one for this winter coming. The safety on this locomotive lifts at 40 pounds pressure. It came with the Goodall valve right there, so I can put water in it without having to, you know, open the boiler. I can also, of course, turn off the steam regulator and add oil, etc. So, you know, you can keep this engine running indefinitely. My friend Steve in England made a homemade chuff pipe. It's down in there. Cylinder covers are from Dream Steam. They're meant for the traditional Mamod locomotives. They don't actually fit here. I jury-rigged by drilling a hole in there. You can see on that side there's a tiny little nut and bolt up. That's the only thing holding it on. And so, but it works. I know that young Vihan in South Africa has been asking about this engine. And so Vihan, this run is for you, buddy. Friar's having a good time. There's a sleepy dog up there on the couch and blanket. Are you being a lazy bones? Yep, there'll be some floor cleaning to do after. You know, Henry, there must be a slight dip in the floor. The locomotive slows down when it comes up over this corner. I think you're right, Marge. Yes, I think you're right. Either way, it's a good fun here running behind this engine. Oh, and there's the Friar. Hello, Friar. You know, when you think about it, this is live steam at its most elemental, and it's still extremely enjoyable. You get a little engine like this that's a budget engine. I'm seriously hoping somebody takes up the void that Mamod will leave by not making these. It's very robust, very good engine. In addition to little tricks like learning how much gas to have on for the weight and the temperature and whatnot, and where to put the throttle setting, the steam regulator, and little trick like not having the reversing arm all the way over to open on either reverse or forward, help control the engine. But another thing I found is I'm trying out some really heavy, like over 600 weight steam oil that Michael Franklin gave me. And it does actually seal the cylinders a little better. So you can actually get these to run fairly well. When it was brand new, it was a rocket, but that's sort of eased off after a while when, you know, it bedded in and all the parts wore in the way they should. Oh, the doggy. What's better than doggies and trains, eh? You can feel the heat when it passes by. Incidentally, for those of you who don't know, 32 millimeter gauge in 1 to 19 scale represents 2-foot narrow gauge, so this train represents 2-foot narrow gauge train. However, 32 millimeter gauge is also O scale, so my battery and radio controlled converted Line L toy trains and K line I can run on here too. In fact, there is a playlist on my channel about that. These are Mark's toy train trucks and a piece of old Mark's track that I put there. I really love the spoked wheels on these Smith 16 wagons. That was a good 25-minute run. Now I think it's time to get out the paper towel. Holy moly.